And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
This is your RBLR Race Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Dobb, along with my co-host, Pat Davenport. Pat, how are you feeling after that song that has raised the bar for intro songs?
Raise the stakes is absolutely right. I feel like we're currently at a point in the Rays season where the stakes could maybe not even be raised because we are at a kind of make or break point in our season here in late August. I guess it's all we can ask for, assuming we don't lose out next week. We're going to be playing in September with a shot. And that's all we can ask for on any given season, is to enter September with some meaningful baseball. And it is coming. So it's been a funny old season, but it's been an interesting season, and I've enjoyed talking about it every week with you. How are you feeling about this funny old Rays season?
It's been one of the most, be honest, it's been a very frustrating season of Rays baseball for me. I had really high expectations for this team when we started the season. They have not met those expectations yet. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We've discussed it all season long, whether it's been injuries or just underperformance or changes in the roster. Whatever you want to say it's been, they haven't lived up to the expectations that I thought they would. That being said, there's a lot of fun to be had game to game with this team because it's a fun group. It's a team that does not give up, as we saw last night. They are a team that are going to keep fighting until the last game, and I respect that about them immensely. And it's the type of team they're going to stay in it for as long as they can, and I'm going to be there every single game, no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice to perhaps pick up the pesky Rays moniker that was kind of bestowed upon us in like the 2008 to 2013 era, where like we were good, but like hadn't developed ourselves as like a consistent like powerhouse of the division just yet. And they're like, those pesky Rays. I'd quite like to be the pesky Rays again. Just spoil a few teams' day. Could we spoil the Orioles getting a bye? Could we really ruin those Royals fans' day and sneak in at the last second? Maybe do what we did to the Red Sox back in 2011 again.
Absolutely. I think we can. And I think the Twins are going to be a prime target for us. And we're going to talk about it because we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the week that was, and not much else to talk about at this point except for how do we make the playoffs? Can we make the playoffs? If you were listening to the video of the song that preceded our podcast, you may have an idea of some of the points we're going to make there, but we're going to talk about it. We're also going to look ahead, as we've kind of been doing as the season's coming to a close, looking ahead to 2025. We've got some discussion on the rotation in the bullpen for 2025. And then we're going to do bat and arm like we always do. And one of the things that I always do is I always say that I appreciate you guys, because I do. And I appreciate every single one of you that's watching us. We do it for you guys. We do it to give you guys what we think is the best Rays show out there. And we appreciate all of you that are coming in to watch. If it's your first time, thank you for joining us. Do us a huge favor. If you enjoy what you're seeing, like it. If you've been here before, we appreciate you. If you're not subscribed and following already, it's where you got to be, because that's how you know when we're going live. And if you want to do us another huge favor after all of that, which we really appreciate, do us a huge favor and share us out to someone else who enjoys what we're doing, that might enjoy what we're doing, that maybe isn't watching us already. We would really appreciate it, and we appreciate everyone who's watching. So, week that was started off really promising in the wrap-up of a sweep, the first in what seems like forever.
Yeah. I think it was our second sweep of the whole season, which I guess kind of could be emblematic of that stat. Could be emblematic of how this season has gone. Where like we've won a lot of series, but we've never been like sweeping a series, and that's why we've always kind of been hovering around the 500 mark, because like we always take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're not really making like large leaps forward. But that Diamondback series was great. That was really, really good. I thought we pitched really, really well. I thought we had some good at-bats when it mattered. That Sunday game, oh my goodness. That game was drunk.
Yes.
I hated every second of it. I almost like certain games. I don't know if you have this as well, Zach, but like I sometimes have baseball games where I'm like, I don't even care if we win or lose. I just hate this now.
Yes. Well, and it's funny. It felt like nobody wanted to win that game. Both teams. Oh, did we both? I think both teams. Well, they didn't have bases loaded, but they had 2 runners on. But we had the bases loaded, did not score. They had 2 runners on, did not score. We, again, like multiple times, had opportunities to win that game, and it seemed like nobody was interested in actually winning until finally Dylan Carlson, who you called out as potentially. Was it you or was it Carter that called it out? I think it was.
It was probably Carter.
It was probably Carter. It was Carter
He's
that called it out. It was like
guy.
Dylan he's a big Carlson guy. I think he called out Dylan Carlson going to walk this off earlier in the game. He did not, and then he ended up walking it off. What a way to end it! And it kind of. I think you make a really good point about us taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back all season long and not getting those sweeps. And it's going to lead into a lot of what we're talking about later in the show about what we need to do to get to the playoffs. It's kind of the opposite of that. We need to start taking 3 steps forward and no steps back for a couple series, because at this point, even though we've set ourselves up enough that we're in contention, we are still hovering around the playoffs, but because we've been just kind of winning series, not sweeping, which is better than losing series, like to be clear, but we haven't taken those big steps forward that we needed to get in, like right up in playoff contention. And I think what was, an opportunity, I thought was an opportunity to kind of do that, ended up being another example of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back in the Oakland series that came right after. A series in which the Rays only gave up 8 runs all series long, which normally that's 2 runs a game, which and under any normal circumstances, I'd be like, oh yeah, we are winning that series. 2-2.
Yeah, well, we only scored 6 runs ourselves.
Yep.
So, like, over 4 games, we got outscored 8-6. Like, over 4 games. That's crazy. So, like, we pitched to a 2. And again, this is kind of a metaphor for the whole team performance in this second half, really, where we pitched to a 2 ERA in that series. But our offensive runs per game are like 1.6.
Yep.
Like, and the A's aren't like a pitching powerhouse. In fact, if the A's are kind of, if you could point to the strength of the A's, you'd say they've got some like good bats in their lineup. It's not about their pitching.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I was excited for this series going into it. Because I thought we had a chance to 3-1 it at least, and maybe a sweep, because I thought we had that opportunity. But the offense kind of showed the big weakness of this current iteration of the Rays team, especially post-trade deadline. The floor is gone. It's way down there right now because of the trades that we made, the young guys that are now up, and just the profile of some of these guys that we have on the team right now that are kind of boom or bust. And a lot of them have the potential to develop into something more than that, and that's what we hope to see. But right now, that's kind of what they are. And unfortunately, in order for them to develop into something better, you kind of got to take that. So I don't really have a problem with the Rays doing it, because you look at guys like Morel and Carlson. They've had really, really nice performances. They've also had some really abysmally bad performances, like, multiple strikeout nights, just not looking good at the plate, not providing much value, and then they're going to hit home runs. So you have to take good with the bad to allow them to develop. It's what the Rays kind of signed themselves up for when they traded Isaac, when they traded Randy, who, by the way, are not doing very well with their next teams, but we're not going to worry about that. When you did that, you lowered the floor of this team. Now, as we saw last night, the ceiling is also a little higher, because the potential of what you now have on the team is up here. But you got to take the good with the bad, and this series was kind of the bad.
Yeah, it's the only way you can kind of make smaller fluctuations, both good and bad, and maintain consistency is by making the sample size larger, right?
Yep.
So, and that's how data works. So, you've got to play them out in order for them to get used to major league pitching, and it's tough because these are high pressure games, right? Like they're not must win, but they're, it's a playoff race, and you don't have, like we're going to talk about in a few minutes, you don't have much wiggle room anymore to have a bad night. So there's a lot of pressure being put on themselves. So people are going to press, and they're putting pressure on each other, I think, as well. I think there is a pressure cooker environment. Now, I don't think there's much to extrapolate from this. I think it's an open shut thing. But, the Yandy Cabby thing in that series, that was like, hey, we're all feeling a lot of pressure right now. Yeah. And that's why, and this Rays team is facing a lot of pressure. And I don't know about your belief on clutch or the ability to perform in high leverage or whatever. I subscribe to the theory that 90% of players act the same in high leverage. It's just like it's small sample size nonsense usually. And then there's like 5% of players that actually do better in high leverage, and 5% of players that actually like shrivel up in high leverage and can't do it. And I just think the Rays have had a lot of bad sequencing in their innings in order for them to strand a lot of guys on runners in scoring position, because we get a lot of guys on, right? Like we have so many at bats with runners in scoring position, but then we never seem to come through when it happens. And I don't know if that's a case of bad sequencing, or do you think this team is genuinely bad at clutch hitting?
No, I think what clutch is to me, and the example that I use for this, because I'm a Patriots fan, is Tom Brady. Clutch to me is not playing better in high leverage moments. Clutch to me is playing the same in high leverage, because usually you're a little worse in clutch moments because there's pressure, because it's a small sample size, all the above. You're a little worse. The people that are the best in the clutch are just the same. If you look at Tom Brady's statistics in the playoffs, they are a little better, but really they're just kind of the same as what they are in the regular season. And that's what makes him so good. Because when you look at most other quarterbacks or most other players generally, you can apply this across sports. There's very few guys that are really better. Most are worse. The guys we remember as really good tend to be kind of the same, because usually those guys are just really good anyway. And so if they're really good anyway and they're the same in high leverage moments, that's what clutch ends up being. I think that when you look at how the team performs in with runners in scoring position this season, it's a case of you got a bunch of young dudes and they're gonna make mistakes. If I wanted to sum up where this team is right now compared to the first half of the year, walk percentage is down about 4% from the first half. Strikeout percentage is up about 3%. That's it right there. You're striking out a little bit more. You're walking a lot less. That's just like, that's because of the players you have on this team. Is that how it's going to be forever? No, but that's where you are right now. And again, you do get those really explosive nights where you get a lot of those guys that go off because there's so much power in this lineup. There's a lot more. I think there's more power in this lineup now than there was before, between Carlson, Morel, Jr. now up. There's a lot of power there. And Bilau's healthy. Yandy is healthy. He's healthy-ish. He's not really healthy. That's part of why he's performing not to his standards. He's just not healthy. He's got something with his hand that he's just playing through. So that is what it is. I don't think it's something that's going to plague them like long-term. It's a product of their current roster construction, because they've said the 2024 season is not the last season of baseball that will ever be played. So we're gonna still try to win. I think Kevin has been managing more aggressively than he tends to manage. Just observationally, I don't have statistics to back that up. Observationally, I think he's been a little more aggressive management-wise than he often is. So I think they are still trying to win games, but they are saying as well, hey, we got all these young guys. Let's get these guys in the cooker a little bit. Let them develop, because we're going to have a really good pitching staff in 2025. Let's give those guys some offense. So I think that's kind of what's happening. Do I think this is the roster construction as it is right now of the players that are in the Rays system is the best chance they have to win games? Yeah, I do. But because just by the nature of what is in the Rays roster right now across their affiliates, this is what you've got right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I had to have a think just to like double check, and I think you're right. But this like there is no magic sauce in the minor with Caballero up. I don't think there's a magic sauce in the minor leagues anymore. Like,
No,
you
there
can just
isn't.
go call this guy up, and we'll suddenly be better. Particularly on quite a very like a weak hitting outfield that we have in the moment. Like that's probably where the Rays are lacking their prospect depth is outfields, particularly the high levels, right? Unless you want to like go crazy and get like Chandler Simpson to come up.
Yeah.
But that's not going to fix the problem. Like it
No.
is. So yeah, this is what we're riding or dying with till the end of the year. But I think there's definitely places where this team can improve roster like lineup wise in terms of position players. Like, but it's not something that we can do right now. I don't think. So we just got to run with it.
No, and so I guess if we're looking at the offense, we'll make this kind of quick because I think we'll delve into this a little bit more as the season goes on and then into the offseason. But just like right off the top of your head, where's the position that you would love to see the Rays make a move in the offseason? Like if you had to just say one position, I'd love to see them do something there.
Corner / center, like an outfielder.
Yeah.
I've been saying the past couple of weeks, I think Luis Robert is like perfect. Like obviously like Juan Soto, right? But like let's be honest with ourselves and say that like we'll probably make a run at him, but we probably won't sign him. So assuming hilarious? So, oh my gosh, so I'm gonna say it right now. If we sign Juan Soto, and you can write this down and clip this or whatever. If we sign Juan Soto, I will do a live stream where I write "In Neander We Trust" as many times as many dollars we commit to Juan Soto's contract. So if we commit $300 million to Juan Soto's contract, I will write "In Neander We Trust" on live stream 300 million times. It might have to be several live streams over several days, but I will commit to that.
I will publicly apologize to Stu Sternberg for all the stuff I said about him after we traded Tyler Glasnow. I will make a public apology, and I don't have a blackboard, but if I did, I would write "I love Stu Sternberg" that many times as well. Because look, that would be the coup of all coups. It would be because like if you look at the way that our lineup is, if you inserted someone like that into this lineup with those, with those other guys there, it would be amazing. But the truth is, Juan Soto also has to want to come here. So I don't know. Maybe he loves Tampa. I don't know anything about Juan Soto's personal life. Maybe he loves Tampa. I don't know, but probably not.
No, I mean, he's not been a frequent visitor. But I remember when we tried to sign Freddie Freeman, it was like, there's no income tax, so like all the money we sign you for, you get to keep, unlike California where you got to pay a lot of that in taxes. But I'm not a big expert in that, being from where I am. But Luis Robert is like a tradable guy. He's not making crazy money because he signed a pretty team-friendly contract with the White Sox, but I think they'd want to move him. We've got the prospects to acquire him. You could play him in center, or if you want to like make him less injury prone, you can maybe play him in a corner. And either would work for me. And when he's, his ceiling is so high, you just have to bank on him staying healthy. But I really, that's where I think the outfield. What about you, Zach? Where do you think's the spot that you would target to try and improve?
I agree, because while I think shortstop and catcher are the ones where it's the most glaring offensive weakness on the team, there aren't really good options to improve there. And there is a really good option that will be here probably backside of 2025 or maybe 2026 in Carson Williams. That is going to be the shortstop of the future. There aren't really any options that are like a one-off that I think would be worth it. So I'm going to take shortstop out. Catcher, I'm not really worried about trying to acquire a catcher. The reason that I like the idea of adding an outfielder is because it could potentially push all three of the guys that I would say are our current like top outfielders. Or maybe you could say four in Carlson, JDL, Siri, and Josh Lowe could really push them to say, hey, here's this guy, maybe an established guy, to come in and really push these young guys to try to be better. I think there's potential for that, to be really, really good, especially if he's a righty and he can really push DeLuca and Siri. I think that would be really, really good. just for them as in their development to have that pressure on them. We'll see if the Rays do it. I don't have anybody like right now. I will probably in like a month or two. I'll have some guys, but I think that is a spot where I'm going to start looking to see who would I like the Rays to go after, because I think that's the most obvious spot. And I said this even earlier in the year. I didn't think they were going to move Randy, but now that Randy's gone, to be honest with you, that left field spot, I could take or leave. We could bring somebody into that spot. I don't think anybody has earned that spot long term.
No.
At all. So we could definitely bring somebody in there.
Yeah, like really, I don't know if DeLuca's ceiling is any higher than glove first, fourth outfielder. And Palacios is like a decent on base guy.
Yeah.
But with like long side platoon advantage. But like again, if you're gonna be like fielding like the best possible team you possibly can, there's probably a better option in corner outfield than Palacios.
Yeah.
Like I like Palacios's profile and I like his utility, and I think he deserves a spot on the roster. But he shouldn't be like, hey, we're gonna get 150 games out of Richie Palacios.
Yeah. He's a great utility guy. Yeah,
right. Unless he can tap into some like more consistent like gap power, then I don't know. Anyways, how about this Dodgers series that we've been playing?
Wild start. I guess the first game was not very wild. No. But the second game was. The first game was just I want to say not fun is the best way that I can put that. Getting out to an early lead and blowing it in the ninth inning in spectacular fashion. Which has resulted in Jose Siri getting attacked by reporters, which is just awesome. This is awesome. Loved it. So I don't really want to talk anymore about Shohei Ohtani. We all know he's really good. But go ahead. We do have to talk about something because you have probably one of the great stats that I've heard in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So go ahead. Okay, so it doesn't actually. I don't think you can actually like glean any conclusions from this. I just think it's weird. So the Rays, since 1998, since the Rays became a team, the Rays have hit the fewest amount of walk-off grand slams in the majors. They have hit one. Do you know who hit it? Oh, no. When was it? It was 2017. 2017. This is a game for you at home as well. Write your answer in the comments. Yes. I'm going to say it was 2017. Logan Morrison. Just a complete guess. Oh, it's a great guess, but it's not. It's Daniel Robertson. Oh, I knew it was some random guy who was on team for like one. I used to love Daniel Robertson too. I can't believe D-Rob. Oh, D-Rob. Yeah, he hit it in 2017. He's the only walk-off grand slam in Rays history. I remember. The San Francisco Giants are the only other team to have hit as few as one since 1998. Nice. The Cleveland Guardians have hit the most since 98 anyway. But what's weird is the Rays have hit the fewest walk-off grand slams, and they have conceded by far the most walk-off grand slams since 1998. Since 1998, the Rays have been on the receiving end of a walk-off grand slam 14 times after Shohei Ohtani's in their 20-something years of existence. 14 times they've been walk-off grand slams. The second closest team is the Texas Rangers, who have only been walk-off grand slammed 7 times since 98. So we've had once every 2 seasons. Roundabout. Yeah, we have been walk-off grand slam double the amount of the next most team, which is just weird. So it's happened twice this year now with Ohtani, and then back in April, Ryan McMahon hit one. I'm just going to list the rest just to take a bad trip down memory lane. Oh, let's do it. Let's just go. Josh Donaldson hit one against us in 2022. Okay. I remember that. That was when he was playing for the Yankees, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, because we should have won that series. Oh. Yeah, he was down. It was the ultimate one as well. They were down by 3 with 2 outs. I remember that.
Yeah, it's gross. I believe it was short porch as well.
It was short porch. Short porch.
Yeah.
We would have swept them.
Yeah. In one of the more confusing ones, 2021, Shed Long Jr. Hit one against us in 2021 for the Mariners. We gave up 2 in 2018. Brian Dozier of the Twins hit one.
Okay.
Which I do remember that one. I remember watching that one live because it was a day game. And then Jose Bautista, while playing for the Mets in 2018, hit that one.
I do remember that one. I do remember that because it was so random. Because like, I think before we played them, I was like, wait, who is playing for who now? And we get walked off.
Yeah. Then we go back to 2015. Paulo Orlando hit one.
That's a name.
Of the Royals, and that was the first game of a doubleheader as well. So you get walk-off grand slam, and then you got to like turn it around.
Play the game. It's brutal.
And then Jose Abreu hit one in 2014 off us. In 2013, Matt Wieters of the Orioles hit one off us. Then we go back to 2008. Greg Zahn hit one off of us. Richie Sexton in 2006 with the Mariners. Joe Randa of the Royals in 2001. Rico Brogna of the Red Sox in 2000. And then our very first one was Sandy Alomar of the Guardians or Indians
Sandy
back then.
Alomar.
So there you go. At least I guess the bright side is there's been no repeat pitcher who's given up a walk-off grand slam more than once.
Yeah.
In Ray's history anyway, as a Ray.
What do we think that, like, just in like 5 minutes, what do we think the culprit is?
Of all these walk-off grand slams
like,
against us?
Because it's like, it's a little too weird that we have double the amount. I have a theory that I was thinking of while you were talking.
Go on.
My theory is the Rays, this is completely conjecture and no idea. Yeah. I think the Rays are both more likely to walk a guy, to walk the bases loaded, to get to a better matchup that they might like, or because they'd rather have the bases loaded for a double play opportunity than maybe some teams, because they're going to play the analytics on that than maybe some other teams. Because you could, I'm sure there's probably a way more people that get walked off by like a 3-run home run or something than a grand slam, because they may not be willing to load the bases. But I wonder if the Rays might be, because they're playing the averages on that. And I'd be curious how many times it's worked out for them. That'd be interesting to know. And I also wonder if the Rays pitching staff is more prone to bullpen walks. I wonder, like, especially when they're doing poorly, they're like the bad version of the Rays, because of how much like the crazy stuff. If a Rays pitcher has a bad outing in the bullpen, a lot of times there's going to be a lot of walks, because they're like, think about like Mike Clevenger. If he has a bad outing, he's going to be walking guys like up, out the wazoo. So like, I wonder if that's the culprit for some of those situations.
I've also noticed, like, in recent times, so since like 2018 time, all of the guys that have given them up are kind of like guys that use sliders quite a lot. So I don't know if it's like, when you hang a slider, it's maybe the most like BP standard pitch you can get.
Yeah.
So like the guys that have given it up since 2018: Chaz Rowe, Matt Andres, Diego Castillo, Jalen Beeks, Jason Adam, and Poche the other day.
Yeah. Well, like, even if you look at the one on Friday night, it's hit by pitch, single, and then you have a sack bunt, a ground out, and then a walk. So the reason that like that's where I think you get like Emmanuel Rodriguez, he's got some wildness in him a little bit, and then that kind of results in, the bases getting loaded, and then Poche comes in, first pitch slider, gone.
Yeah. Seems to be a lot of sliders involved, because the McMahon one was a slider as well.
So if the bases are loaded in the bottom of the ninth, do not throw a slider. That's what we've learned.
Either yeet it in the dirt or just don't throw it.
Don't throw a slider. Throw anything else.
That is a weird like quirk of Rays history, is that we don't hit walk-off grand slams, but we sure as heck give them up.
That's unfortunate.
And this is a great tip for anyone that wants to get into researching stuff for baseball. Just like sometimes, like this is all that occurred to me was I was like, damn, we do give up a lot of walk-off grand slams. It feels like we give up a lot. I'm gonna like research it, and then usually if you get the sniff test, then it's a good thing to go research.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's quite a stat. I think that there are a lot of people out there that when they go in their closet, there's not a lot of grand slams out there. This is not meant to be a shot at your wardrobe, but I think all of us, if I look into my wardrobe right now, there's only a couple grand slams out there. But the good thing for me is that I know where I can go and get a grand slam pretty easily, and that's shop.rblrsports.com, where I can get 10% off everything there with promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY, stuff for the Rowdies, the Bucks, the Lightning, and the Rays. All the best Tampa Bay sports gear is there at shop.rblrsports.com. It's where you want to be. If you want to hit some grand slams, get some grand slams in your wardrobe, shop.rblrsports.com, promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY.
Hot Boy Summer's coming to a close, I regret to inform you. It means that you've only got limited opportunities to showcase your finest fits, okay? You can't be affording to take any fashion L's at this point, okay? You maybe have 8 fashion L's left this season, if we're talking fashion. But the Rays, we hypothesize, have 8 losses left in this baseball season. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. But before we do, speaking of finest, if you think we are the finest podcast in all of the Bay, you could vote for us at Best of the Bay. Vote for us to win the best podcast category. If you go on the socials, we've got links to where you can go and vote for us. You can vote once a day. If you think we're doing great, we would really appreciate you voting for us. Absolutely.
And if you want, you can get friend of the show Carter to be best sports writer too.
You can,
because he's pretty good. He's pretty good too. We got a lot of good people here at the RBLR network.
We do. We have no bad shows here at the RBLR network. No bad shows. We have 33 games remaining in this baseball season. 33 games remaining, at least for the Rays. We hypothesize by looking at what the records currently of the teams that are in the playoffs and what their winning percentage is right now. We hypothesize it's going to take 90 wins to make the playoffs. Therefore, we need to win. Oh my gosh, I didn't go the other way. 25 games.
Yeah.
To make the playoffs. We need to only lose 8. That's all we got. Rest of the season. It's tough. Can it be done?
Yes. Can it be done? Yes. So the key thing is we're trying to pick where we can take losses and where we can realistically take some losses and be okay. So we've got 10 series, I think. 10
series after the Dodgers series.
10 series in a game to go. So that means we've got less than a loss a series ratio ahead of us. So we kind of have to win today to get the math off to a good start.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Which I know is easier said than done because Bars has been scratched from his start because he's feeling under the weather. So it's going to be a bullpen day today.
Jacob Lopez is supposedly going to come up and take a spot to be the bulk guy today, at least.
Yeah, so we got to try and by hook or by crook take a dub today. Then
need some runs.
Yeah. Then we've got 10 series left. Mariners for 3, Padres for 3. Let's start there. Can we afford to lose any of those games? I think in that 6 span of games, we can afford a loss.
I agree. I think you can lose 1 game on the road to the Mariners.
Okay, 1 game on the road to the Mariners. Let's say we lose the Springs versus Gilbert game because Logan Gilbert's on a crazy one right now. Springs is good, but I don't know if we'll put up run support. Okay, then Padres. Do we need the sweep?
I think so. And part of the reason why I say that is because you get a day off. It's at home. And I think you need to get momentum going for the next series.
Okay. So we need to win the Mariners series, sweep the Padres. Then we've got 4 against the Twins at home. And I believe this is your like turning point moment.
This is my turning point moment. The Twins right now are the easiest target that's in playoff spot right now because we got 4 games against them at home. You sweep them, you put them on the back foot, you have a chance. You have a really, really good chance. You have to win the series. You cannot split. If you split the series, you're in real trouble. Like you're in serious trouble if you split this series because you gain no ground. If you sweep, you're in a really, really good place. If you don't, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, you got to take 3 or 4 min. If we get swept, the season's over.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If we lose 3 or 4, the season's over.
Agreed.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got it lined up to be Springs, Bars, Bradley, Pepio.
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. So we got our guys. We got our guys going. That's a big one because then straight away after that, we got the Orioles and Phillies and Guardians on the road.
And those, like, I think that's where, if you sweep the Padres and the Minnesota Twins, you can buy yourself a series loss in there, which you're probably going to need. Like, I think that middle series, or even either the middle or the last series versus that 4-gamer on the road at Guardians, hold on for dear life. That's a brutal series. That is a brutal series. After being on the road at Orioles, at Phillies, and then you go to the Guardians. And by the way, it's a streak of 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got like almost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games in a row without a day off. 11 of which are on the road.
So in those 10 games, you have to go, assuming we took 3 or 4 against the Twins,
10. We
swept the Padres, and we took 2 or 3 against the Marlins, you're probably going to need to be 7-3.
Yeah.
In those 10 games.
Somehow.
I don't care how you do it, but like I don't care what order, but in those 10 games, you got to go 7-3 minimum.
Yeah. You've got to find
against
7-3.
Against 3 of the 5 best teams in baseball.
Yeah. If you could do that, you get to the end of that gauntlet stretch where you've lost 4 games. You've got 4 games to lose towards the end here. And I think you're going to need them because you're going to play the Red Sox twice, who are also, along with you, going to be fighting for their postseason lives. So I think you're probably going to lose 2 games in there. I don't think you're going to sweep either one, but it's going to be an absolute dogfight. And I think because the season is weird, you're going to lose a game to the Tigers and a game to the Blue Jays because it's just been that kind of a season. So that's how I think we make the playoffs. If we do something like that.
Ideally, you'd want to sweep one of the Blue Jays or Tigers.
You'd really like to. That would give you some cushion. That would give you the ability to lose more on that long road stretch or not have to sweep the Padres.
Yeah.
If you do that.
So basically, we can't have it when we can have maybe 1 series loss between now and the end of the year.
Pretty much.
We can't get swept.
Cannot get swept.
And we will need not only to win every series we play, basically, but we're going to need a couple of sweeps in there.
Yeah, a couple sweeps. And again, if you sweep the Twins, you could buy yourself maybe another loss because you'd have the tiebreaker and you'd be in striking distance of the Twins. You might be able to buy yourself an extra loss there.
I'm just Googling where we're at. Have we faced the Twins this year, right?
We had them on the road, I believe, earlier in the year.
Okay, we have faced the Twins this year. Hold on, let me just get this right. So, so I can just see where we're at in terms of tiebreaker.
Well, and that's why if you sweep them, it doesn't matter. But if you go 3-1 or 2-2, I don't think we got swept. We didn't sweep them.
No, we won the series.
Okay.
Last time.
So if you go, so really, you win the tiebreaker over them
if you split.
which is fine. But the problem there is that you don't get any ground on them if you split. That's the real problem. It's because they're 7 games up on us right now. So the difference then is getting those 4 games that you could get up on them. It's just a golden opportunity. Like, you don't get this opportunity very often in this kind of a playoff race to play your direct rival for 4 games at home.
And with the Red Sox, we are currently 3-4 against the Red Sox this year.
So again, you're gonna have to win this. You're gonna have to win both series to get those tiebreakers. Because if you can find a way to get those tiebreakers, you give yourself the best chance. Mm-hmm. So again, to quote my least favorite manager, it's right in front of us. It's right in front of them. They can do it. They have the opportunities are there. It's not like we don't play the Twins, we don't play the Red Sox, we don't play the Royals or anything, and we're just kind of hoping that something happens. No, we do have the ability to influence the way this goes and to even give ourselves some advantages. You just have to take advantage of it. And if you don't, you're not going to make the playoffs. And that's not the end of the world, but it would be pretty sad.
It would be sad, especially the expectations we had on this team.
Yeah.
Coming into the season. It's going to be a rough stretch. Do you know what the rule is? Because we faced, hypothetically, if we tied with the Royals, we're 3-3 against the Royals, and we don't play them again this year.
Probably run differential, right?
Nuts.
Which is not going to end well for us.
Yeah.
No. Okay. That's why I keep saying the Twins, because we could really get it out of whack to where we're clearly have the tiebreaker there. Same thing with the Red Sox. We could clearly get the tiebreaker over those teams with series wins or with a sweep. You could really set yourself up for that opportunity. And again, like we're saying, you have to win 90 games. A lot could happen. This could change. That number could change next week if the Twins lose a bunch of games or if the Red Sox lose a bunch of games. And we win all that we think we could win. But right now, this is just kind of where we think it's going to be. So can they do it? Yes. Is it going to be really, 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 really hard? Yes, as well.
Yeah, and we're going to need the offense to be consistent for a month, which is maybe the scariest requirement.
Yeah,
or at least certain requirement.
But kind of, I don't want to say we buried the lead, but if Junior Caballero is going to hit 100-mile-per-hour baseballs as consistently as he did last night, we might be in for some luck. I don't know about you, but I'm seriously, I after the trade deadline, I was like, I'm done. I'm not buying any more jerseys. I'm not even going to bother. It's not worth it. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about a Caballero jersey sometime in the offseason.
Yeah. City Connect Caballero.
I'm telling you, a Devil Ray Caballero, if they have those, I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I bought a Randy jersey in City Connect earlier this year, and I've been burned there. And
but at least with Randy, I have a KK jersey, right? It's what I'm wearing right now. I have so many great memories of KK that I don't really care because I just have. It's same thing with I have a Brady jersey and he got traded. So with Randy, and maybe you feel differently, but if I don't know that I would really hate it too much because 2020 still happened. All those great moments still happen. So it's so that is still there. So,
That's very true. I'm with you on that. Part of me goes, maybe I should have got a Longo jersey instead. Because that's forever, right? Yeah. That's safe forever.
Yeah.
But, it's fine. I'm happy with a Randy jersey. It still looks cool. He was the first. I think he's if I still imagine the City Connect, he's the guy I imagine in them. If you know what I mean. Just imagine a Rays player in the City Connect. You imagine Randy, I think, still.
I think of Yandy, but Randy's right there.
Yeah. I guess you could think of Johnny DeLuca because
think of Johnny DeLuca.
He went crazy when we first debuted them.
I could also think of Taylor Walls because he's the one they sent up there to look awkward, modeling them during the press conference, which I thought was very funny. Along, I think was it him and Pete that were modeling them? That was pretty funny. I just think Taylor Wall's whole existence is kind of funny on this team. But anyway,
does he play on the team next year?
Probably.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Probably.
Let's be honest with ourselves.
Let's talk about something more positive because I don't want to think about Taylor Wallace too much anymore. Let's talk about bat and arm.
Yeah, I love the bat and arm. Okay,
I love the bat and arm. That's fun.
Yes, and I'll tell you something for free. Taylor Walls did not win the bat of the week. You know what, Zach? You tell us who the bat of the week is this week.
The bat of the week is somebody that I think he's had such an interesting journey on this team this year. There was so much has happened that, I don't think any other scenario but the scenario, and maybe this is true about almost every player, but I don't think there's any other scenario but the scenario that happened leading up to the season that brought this player on the team could have happened. Yeah. It's crazy that he's here because we would never have thought that this guy was going to be on this team and being as big a part of the team as he has become, but he has, and it's Cabby. I never would have imagined having another shortstop playing as big of a role in this team. Maybe even up to maybe not quite this point, because by this point we knew something was up. But as recently as July of last year, would not have thought. But you know what he's done? He's come on this team. He had a great week this week, obviously, but all season he's gone out there, played the role that was given to him, whether he was a utility guy, whether he was starting at shortstop, whatever it's been. He's gone out there and put in a really, really good work. He's been great on the base paths too. His defense has been good enough, and I've been really impressed with him. He's been pesky. He's been fun to watch, and he had a fantastic week last week with, I believe, a 179 WRC plus over the last week. Great week. Jose Caballero is the bat of the week.
Yeah, big home run yesterday, which is like a rare sighting for Caballero. So good for you, and an important one, shall we say, because it was an extras. But yeah, Cabby's been awesome. He's like he's a part of the team that's gone kind of overlooked because he does give 100% effort. He does play anywhere. He'll always grind his at-bats, even if the results aren't always there. And you know what? He's got 2.3 F4 on the season. Like, he's been fine. He's been completely fine. He's probably going to finish the season with around 3. And, like, a 3-win player is like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we take those. We take those every day of the week. So, like, obviously, you need guys with higher ceilings than Caballero on your team. But you also need guys that are just going to quietly put up 3 wins, right? Otherwise, you're going to have a top-heavy team. And the key thing about Caballero is that whenever he's been in, wherever he's batting the order, wherever he's played in the field, you know he's not a dead at-bat. And you know he's going to play competent defense. Like, you know he's like a plaster you can put on any part of the team that you need to in the meantime, which is great. He's our handyman.
That is a great way to put it. He is the handyman of this team. I'm glad he's getting a little bit of a shine because he has done kind of yeoman's work on this team to kind of get us where the bats and the plays in the field that have been needed to be made. I wouldn't mind seeing him next year. He's young, got a lot of team control left. It'll be interesting to see what kind of role he plays next year, but he definitely earned bat of the week this week. Awesome to see that home run. Good job, Cabby. We love it.
Good job, Cabby. Shout out Christopher Morel, too, who also had quite a good week.
Yes, Christopher Morel was like right there. He didn't have I thought about giving it to him. He wasn't really better in anything than Cabby, and Cabby had the big hit last night, but also a great week for Morel. Really, really good to see that. Junior had a nice week too. Wasn't quite as good as the other two, but he's really starting to heat up. We'll have to see about next week. Maybe he can heat it up throughout the rest of this week.
Yeah, I mean, Caballero is like, he hits home runs on swings or like contact that like has no business being a home run swing. Like, it looks like he like got way under it and he'll still drive it out. It's nuts.
Yep, and I said it last night on Twitter. He doesn't hit many cheap ones. He's not eking them over the right field wall, barely getting no, they're gone. Like if he gets a hold of one, it's gone, which is very fun to watch.
I don't even know if he's pulled a home run yet either.
That's a really good question. Where does he hit his home runs? While I'm going to look that up, where he's hit his home runs. While I'm doing that, Pat, who's our arm of the week?
Yeah, there were a few good candidates for Arm of the Week this week, but we ended up giving it to someone who's probably made his best career start this week, and that was Shane Bars. Shane Bars, the wizard himself, was tremendous in his start this week against the A's. 7 2/3, shuddy, no runs allowed. Just an incredible job from Shane Bars. When you can go past 7 without giving up a single run, that is crazy, crazy. He wasn't striking out a load of guys. It was more of a get a lot of contact out. But when you're going deep into games and not giving up any runs, like it's the best possible start you can have. If Shane Bars can start putting together more consistent outings like this, then he's going to be the top of the rotation piece that we all hoped he would be when we got him in the Chris Archer trade, which still continues to haunt the Pirates to this day in the form of our man Shane Bars. And I think it lends itself to interesting discussion of how are we going to fit Bradley, Bars, Pepio, Springs, Littell, McClanahan all on the rotation. And
if only we had another topic that we were going to do to discuss that in like the next maybe 2 to 3 minutes or so. The answer, by the way, to the Caballero question is no, he has not pulled a home run yet. All of his home runs have been either to center or right. But yeah, Shane Baz, the biggest thing to me is being able to go that deep in the game. It's so important right now with the way the bullpen's been used recently because of some injuries to the starting pitching staff. Having a guy that can go 7 2/3. I was hoping he was going to make it to 8, didn't quite make it there, but it was okay. You say it locked it down. No runs allowed. A great start for him. We need him to be that guy, and if he can be that guy going forward, we've got a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. You said I had a decent shout for another Arm of the Week call.
He's been so good. He's been really good.
He led the team in pitching war this week. So, like, crazy. I mean, people are starting to wake up to how good he is. Like on Twitter, like it's becoming like, oh my god, the Rays have created another demon in the lab. But yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, you say that. I think while Fairbanks is out, has earned the closer spot for me.
That's what he's done. He got the last inning and a third of the game that Boss pitched, which is not easy to do. To go out, get one guy, and come back out and close it out in a one-run game where the offense has been not great, and you got the feeling that if he gives up a run, you're probably going to lose that game somehow. So getting that shut performance from Uceda, awesome. Really impressed with him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Edwin. I mean, there was buzz around the deadline about moving Fairbanks. Does this give the Rays like an opportunity to go? We could trade Fairbanks and get like good value for him and be okay with Uceda kind of becoming the heir apparent, or would you still rather keep both?
The thing about trading Fairbanks, and this is what I think people aren't like, and this is what I think people are missing a little bit on that. Can you really trade him to a contender that plays outside?
That's
in
true.
October.
Yeah,
he's kind of at his most valuable on a team that plays in a dome. So like Houston, like but like like there's not a whole lot. Like the Yankees would have been stupid to trade for him. And like any other team, like Baltimore or even like the NL teams, like the Phillies, like no, like that's not gonna be a good spot for him. So I think he's got a lot more value with a team in a dome than really anywhere else. And I think that Uceda, as good as he's been kind of in this like closer role, is so much more valuable as the Jason Adam replacement. Because I think that's what that's his best archetype to me is the stopper. What Jason Adam has been, because he can go multiple innings. I really like him in that role personally. Could he do a closer role? Probably. I think he probably could. But having a guy like that and Pete, I think it really gives you an excellent bullpen.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how they balance that equation, though, because we saw from the Jason Adam trade that you could get a bit of a haul for a good reliever these days.
Yes, you could. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. We've gotten a little bit long, so we'll let this last segment be a little bit of a tease of what we'll discuss later in the offseason. In a minute or less, give me your 2025 rotation.
Oh boy. Okay. McClanahan, Has to be. Assuming no setbacks on his injury, he's going to be pretty much set to go. He'll have a full spring training, so he should be good to go. So he's in. Springs seems to have the maybe highest upside of all the pitchers on the team right now. Like, we've seen how good he can be. He's got to be there. This is where it could be a few. I think Pepio's got to be there. I think Bars and Bradley have also got to be there. Bradley is the one that I have the least amount of faith in. Just because either he's like throwing the best start of all time or the worst start of all time, and he doesn't do anything in between. Could there be a way that he can figure out a way of being more consistent, whether that's adding a third pitch that works? Because right now he's pretty much entirely fastball splitter. Oh God. And but also I think Littell's a free agent at the end of the year, so I doubt he'll be tendered a contract, which kind of works out that scenario. I don't think Alexander has a future on the team either. So there you go. That's my rotation.
Excellent. My rotation is very, very similar. I think Shane is the co-ace along with Springs when he's fully healthy. And then I think it goes Pepio, and then Boz. And then it's a question of, like you said, what happens with Littell? Do we see him stay with the team? Or do we see them go with like a Taj Bradley and try to see what we can do with a guy like him and maybe give him, kind of give him more time, see what he can do. I'd love to see them find a way to keep Littell, because I think he is a great, like, if he's your 4 or 5 guy, like, you are in really, really good shape. And I think if him and Boz are kind of there at the bottom, where I think you've got a clear 1, 2, 3 with McClanahan, Springs, and Pepio, that's a great top 3 right there. And if you have like a Boz Littell at the bottom and even a Boz Bradley at the bottom, I think you're okay there. But it'll be interesting to see I'm very curious to see what the Rays do with Bradley as the season kind of wanes here a little bit.
Yeah. And just for like anyone asking, we're assuming Rasmussen's done as a starting pitcher.
I am assuming he is a 2-inning start, like opener / high leverage reliever. I don't think we're going to see him back as a starter. I think he could maybe give you 3 innings.
Yeah,
probably. Could I see him and Uceda doing like 5 to 6 innings between the two of them in a given day if he needed it? Sure. I think he's more valuable as a reliever right now, because it's clear that I think it's pretty obvious that stretching him out is contributed to the injury for him, considering he's had, and at this point in his career with the injuries he's had, I'd much rather see him ramp up for 2 innings than try to stretch back out. I think that's where he's best used right now. I think that's what the Rays think too.
Yeah, once through the lineup option.
Yes.
Which Uceda can be as well. So you could do 3 innings Rasmussen, 3 innings Uceda, 3 innings someone else.
3. Well, then you go 3 innings Poche, Clevenger, Fairbanks.
Yeah, then you win the game.
You win the game. Easy.
Yeah. It's just that simple, people.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, just
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I think the rotation and the bullpen for next year is like, I'm not even thinking about it.
No, I don't think there's a whole, and we'll get into this into the offseason a little bit. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shuffle there. I think we may see some shuffle in the lineup. There's not going to be. I think they've got a really nice setup, because when you look at this, the way the rotation is, you insert Shane McClanahan into that, it's just really, really good. And that's and you don't know what the next evolution of Pepio or of Springs back fully healthy for a full season, or of Boz a full season of health. Like, who knows what the end game is for those guys.
Yeah, and like, you also have like is it Ian Seymour in AAA as well, who's probably like not far away from like getting a look in at the major league level. Same with like Joe Rock. Like, so if you sustain an injury, which, let's be honest, we probably will at some point, you've got guys down there as well. Maybe Tyler Alexander can stick around with the organization as well as like an emergency spot starter type guy.
And then it's what does Bradley have?
Right.
What can he be? I don't know right now. He hasn't been good recently. The problem, and really, really fast on him, the problem is he doesn't have a really good out pitch. The curveball that he throws is too slow. If you watch the game last night, not a single swing and miss on that pitch. Not a one. It's just, it's too slow. It does not, it's very obvious what it is when it's thrown. It's not like you can maybe steal a strike with it every 3 or 4 at bats, but that is it. If it was 7 or 8 miles per hour faster, it would be a weapon in the put away pitch combined with what else he's got. But right now, he just doesn't have that put away pitch. He actually did a pretty good job of keeping pitches in the zone last night. But because there's not enough variation in those pitches right now, they're sitting on pitches and finding one they like. So, if he's not hitting his spots perfectly, you get what you get. And if he gets a little bad BABIP luck, you combine maybe not hitting your spots perfectly with a little bit of BABIP luck going the wrong way, you get what you got last night.
Yeah. It's a shame because we've seen what he can be.
Yes.
When he goes crazy, like even in like the first couple innings yesterday, he dotted a pitch to, I can't remember who it was to, but he dotted a pitch at 100 right on the low outside corner. And you're like, right, if you could just do that. And basically the third pitch is so necessary because his fastballs that are really good when you can't, like you said, if you don't just pick one and sit on it. Yes. So if you can develop a slider or like a harder curveball or a different slider shape, I don't know. I'm not the guy that needs to decide that, but I'll leave that to like Remy and the people that know pitching science. Remy, if you're listening to this, we need to ship you down to the Trop. You need to go work with Taj.
We need. And I really think there's a chance that we see Lopez or Rock or somebody up for a little bit to give Taj a chance to mess around a little bit in the minors, either this year or next year, depending on how things go. I think there's a chance that Taj spends a little more time in AAA over the next 2 seasons, not because of an injury, but just to give him a chance to work on a couple things. I'd be very interested to see what his arsenal looks like to start next year.
100% agree. But if Taj is your 5, we're in a great spot.
Correct. That is 100% true. If he's your number 5, because of the weirdness of our injuries that we have right now, and just the rotation's in a lot of weird flux right now, and we don't have Shane. He's kind of like your 3, maybe, and that's not where you'd want him. If he's your 5, you're in a really good place.
And then the bullpen can be run back, and it's fine. We might see a couple of like fringe changes to the bullpen, like you may see like a less of a Kunel or whatever. But again, run it back. I sleep easy knowing that if nothing happened to the pitching staff between now and opening day 2025, I'm completely cool with that. I think that's a winning pitching staff. It's just the lineup that needs better depth, really.
Yep. I think Biggie is the one that we're going to see. Like that's the one where I think we're going to see him in the majors more next year. I'm excited for that. I think they're going to give him the rest of this season to figure it out in the minors, and then we're going to see him on the roster to start next year.
Maybe if he figures stuff out, like maybe, like if we make the playoffs, I might not be against him like being a secret weapon in the bullpen in the playoffs.
Yeah, I could see it
because people haven't got looks on him, right?
Yeah, but we got to make the playoffs first.
Yeah, 8 more
losses. I hope that when we talk to you guys next week, we'll only be down to like 6 or 7 losses. If we're down to 4 or 5 losses, the tone of the show might be a little different than it is right now. So we'll see how that goes. But speaking of the show, that's our show. And thank you for everyone staying with us and watching the show. If you enjoyed it, do us a huge favor and subscribe and follow on the socials so you'll know when we go live. Would show us that you're enjoying what we're doing. We really, really appreciate it. If you liked it and you know somebody who might like it, do us a huge favor and share. And a like, or if you have any comments on what we said today, if you have a different opinion on the rotation for next year, if you got some thoughts on the offense, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and hear what you think.
Absolutely. It's going to be crunch time. We've got some high stakes podcasts coming up between now and the end of the year. You're going to want to be there for that.
You are. And we appreciate you being here for us this week. And we're going to have some wild times between now and the end of the season. But we're just grateful that you guys are going to be here. Raise up.
Raise up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.
We can't lose anymore. Raise fever